Straight ahead on 12 News, a Maple Grove woman's passion for books. Why she's one of the proudest library board members you'll ever meet. Then later, a Brooklyn Park woman with focus and determination, and now one very large goal. But first, an update on the search for the missing Crystal Boy and a substantial increase in the reward for information. 12 News starts right now. Thanks for joining us. As we went to air Thursday evening, we are expecting another update from Crystal Police in the search for missing 10-year-old Barway Collins.
There is now a $12,000 reward for information that helps solve the case. Delane Cleveland joins us now with more on that. Delane?
Mike and Alex, Crystal Police have partnered with the Crystal Crime Prevention Board and Minnesota Crime Stoppers to offer the reward. While they can be helpful, a local agency that works to prevent the abuse and abduction of children says rewards can be a mixed bag.
Sometimes, sadly, rewards can bring in a flood of leads that aren't helpful. And so the hope is that regardless of the amount that the reward is, the person who has that information has a place in their heart for the good of this child and will call it in no matter what.
Allison Fay is program manager of the Jacob Wetterling Resource Center, which has been providing resources to help Barway's family. They've been hard at work to keep Barway's face in the public eye. That includes constant updates on social media. The Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is also lending a hand by putting Barway's face on electronic billboards. Fay says even though more than a week has gone by since Barway was last seen near his apartment, it's important to keep hope.
Our agency has been around for 25 years, and when our agency was founded, the national rates for finding missing kids were in the 60 percentile. And now the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children reports that their recovery rate for finding missing children is 97.5% of the time.
Meanwhile, a group is going to be out canvassing neighborhoods in the northwest suburbs this evening so that even more people can see Barway's face. Mike?
All right, thanks, Delane. At his school in Brooklyn Center, Barway was described as a polite, well-known fourth grader. The principal remembers last seeing him holding a door open for other students as he left for his bus ride home. Since his disappearance, Evergreen Park Elementary has made social workers available to students and teachers with an emphasis on being safe.
So we respond to what the students are asking for, and our school social workers are very good at what they do. So they know exactly how to respond to the students' questions. But we've come from a safety standpoint. This is a normal day. It's business as usual. You're safe in our school.
The school sent home a letter to parents saying older students are aware of the case and they are being urged to contact a social worker if there are concerns about their safety.
Now to the state capitol, where there's an effort to cut the tax on premium cigars. Cigar shops like Tobacco Grove and Maple Grove say they are at a competitive disadvantage because Minnesota's tax is much higher than surrounding states. Minnesota collects 95% of the wholesale cost, up to $3.50 per cigar. In Wisconsin, the tax is only 50 cents.
We hear on a daily basis consumers coming in and saying that we're going to go somewhere else to buy these. They'll come in and test, try one out, take it home, but they're going to make their purchases somewhere else, whether that be Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan, the internet. And that's lost revenue for us, and it's lost revenue for the state of Minnesota.
After a second day of hearings, the measure was passed for possible inclusion in a larger tax bill.
The emerald ash borer is back, having shown up in Ham Lake. And Plymouth City Forester Paul Buck says now is the time to inspect your ash tree to see if there's evidence of the insect. One big clue is if you see a big group of woodpeckers pecking away at an ash tree.
Woodpeckers are continually searching all trees all the time, looking for insects. But when they can find a spot, they go hard at it, and that's where right now without leaves, if you look around, it would be a lot easier to see those areas where all of a sudden instead of the bark being brown, you see it real white. They've peeled it away, they've chipped it away, and now there's a pile of chips underneath the tree. Those are the ones where we want to go in and inspect.
And if you do suspect an emerald ash borer, report it so it can be inspected. Well, one of the newest members of the Hennepin County Library Board is from Maple Grove.
Adja Ann is an avid reader, but as reporter Shannon Slatton explains, she didn't always have access to books like she does now.
In Hennepin County, people can check out books and multimedia that can satisfy any curiosity.
Every Sunday, we're at the library, so we are avid readers.
It's something that Adja Ann of Maple Grove doesn't take for granted.
So my dad was a college professor, and as a college professor, he used to always travel, and he would bring back books to me. I grew up in Liberia. And so he would bring back books, and I would read those books and reread those books.
And Adja would use those books to form her own book club.
The books that my dad brought back was the books that I lived on. And then I started connecting with friends that also share the same passion with me.
Now she'll bring that same passion to the Hennepin County Library Board as one of its newest board members.
We live in an ever-changing world. And so I just want to be part of this team that will take this library to the next level.
Adja will help make decisions about books and resources she can only dream of as a kid.
Work with the team and kind of meet all of the changing demands and the dynamics that we face today.
Evolving programs like this one at her home library in Maple Grove.
That is so amazing.
Yeah.
Where teens can learn how to use a 3D printer.
The notion is that this is something that's really an up-and-coming thing.
New and old ways of learning that Adja is excited to help discover and promote.
Moving to Minnesota and then finding all these books, and I can be able to read and go everywhere, you know, and be every characters and kind of explore. It was very, very exciting for me.
In Maple Grove, Shannon Slatton, 12 News.
Adja Ann will serve a 3-year term on the library board. The city of Osseo is getting closer to approving a new logo.
Here are a look at the 4 finalists. One concept updates the existing city logo. Another uses the city's iconic water tower. A third concept incorporates the Osseo High School Oriole mascot. And a fourth option has both the water tower and the Oriole. The city received a lot of community feedback on this, and the consensus from the council is logo number 2 with the water tower. A final vote is expected on April 13th. Coming up, you could call her the Annie Oakley of Brooklyn Park.
Meet the Northwest Metro's finest sharpshooter up next. And then a little bit later in sports, we'll find out what's new in the world of fishing and the great outdoors at the sports show.
But first, a frigid Friday, temperatures barely reaching above freezing.
You could say a Brooklyn Park woman is taking aim at the 2016 Summer Olympics.
Emily Quiner is an air rifle champion, and she's getting closer to making her Olympic dream come true. Here's Sonia Goins.
You want to go hunting, honey? Look at this.
This Brooklyn Park basement is more than a place to relax.
I'm just setting everything up that I need to set up.
It's where Emily Quiner is chasing her Olympic dreams.
It just uses compressed air to shoot out the pellet.
Besides preparing her rifle for practice,
I'm putting on shooting pants.
she takes steps to avoid injury.
Yeah, they're made to help support the back.
Emily spends most of her time perfecting her air rifle skills.
Minimum of 40 shots a day.
Once she's all set, a computer tracks her moves and let her know if she was on mark.
It tells me how my hold is by following this green line that's coming down, how long I'm holding and how good my shot is.
Emily has been taking aim since she was 13 years old.
My parents and I hunt, so they've been hunting since before I was born.
When she competes in competition,
This is what it looks like.
she shoots with pellets.
Yeah.
She recently competed in the U.S. Shooting Winters Air Gun Championships in Colorado and earned a top spot to compete in the World Cup in South Korea.
I was very excited, shocked because I didn't know that I made it. I knew I was close, and I just wanted to be in the top 10 because top 10 of that match got to go to another match to qualify for a different World Cup.
If she does well there, she'll be on target for the Olympics.
Even if I go there and do very well at the World Cup, it doesn't qualify or give me a spot to go to the Olympics, but I'm getting closer.
She dreams of adding Olympic hardware to her wall of awards.
Just being there, I think, is good enough for me. Even though the ultimate goal is doing well, it would be a dream come true just to go.
In Brooklyn Park, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
Emily will represent the U.S. at the Rifle Pistol World Cup in South Korea, which starts on April 8th. Coming up, a Maple Grove student who stands out in the world of robotics.
But first in sports, local players sharpen their skates for a weekend of tournament hockey. John Jacobson has the details up next.
Well, there is hockey after high school, and this is a way for some talented kids to keep up with it.
Right, maybe haven't gotten noticed yet, but a chance to skate on for a few more years. For some high school boys hockey playing seniors, the end of the high school season and an end to their competitive hockey careers. Others know where they will skate next year in juniors or in college, and then another set of players will be in South St. Paul this weekend. This is video from last year's Ted Brill Grade 8 hockey tournament. The Grade 8 features teams of 17 players representing each of Minnesota's 8 sections of high school hockey. The tournament is designed for players who want to continue playing but who haven't made a commitment yet to a team or school. The Grade 8 brings coaches and scouts from junior, collegiate, and pro teams. The chance for a player to get noticed by a scout. And we talked to one local player about skating in the 3-day tournament this weekend.
I mean, it's an honor to play. There's going to be a lot of scouts there, a lot of looks, so it'll be good for me. Just to get an experience with playing with all the best players in the state and try to get a couple good looks from some teams. I'm going to try to play juniors first because that's probably the best way to go for me, get prepared if I want to play college hockey.
The Grade 8 starts Friday evening and runs through Sunday afternoon at Wakota Arena in South St. Paul. Each team will play 3 games in a regular tournament format. Here's a list of the local players on Grade 8 rosters. Jacob Aberwald of Champlain Park, Matt Vogel of Maple Grove, Ben Christofferson and Zach Heiser of Osseo will skate for the Section 5 team. Tyler Lindstrom of Breck is on the Section 2 team. And several local guys are on the roster for Section 6, 2 each from Benilde St. Margaret's, Hopkins, and Wayzata, including Nate Dingman and Alex Stevens from the Trojans. The first tournament game is at 6 p.m. Friday at Wakota Arena. Spring is here, and that means summer can't be too far behind. The 83rd annual Northwest Sports Show encompasses all things outdoors here in the Upper Midwest. Earlier today, I caught up with pro angler Terry Tuma to ask him what is new in the great outdoors and at the show.
There are a lot of new products, a lot of changes in boat styles and additions to the boats and so forth. And then you got rod and reels, like Daiwa came out with some new rods, and Fenwick has new rods. Berkeley, they got new rods and new lures. And there's a lot of things to see here.
Talk about the boats. They had some down years.
Well, they really did, John, and you're exactly right. And they have been steadily increasing, but there's a lot of people looking at boats. And talked to one dealer yesterday's sale, and they sold 5 boats, just that one shot for one dealer. So I think that sort of sense momentum and what's going to happen in boat sales. There's a lot of people talking about. Some of the dealers, outlying dealers, are doing quite well.
Yeah, you and I talk a lot about fishing during the summer and during the winter season. There's boats here, and you mentioned the tackle and the lures, but there's also kind of destination-type booths for people to check out, resorts and things like that as well.
Well, there really are, and there's a lot of different resorts, Canadian resorts, Alaskan resorts, a lot of houseboat excursions. There's a lot here, yes, very, very much so. You've got these exhibitors here, and you can check them out. You can get their brochures, their pricing, what's available, and so forth, what they offer.
I know you're here for a couple of seminars this weekend. Talk about your seminar you have coming up Saturday.
Well, it's a brand new seminar, John, and thank you so much for asking. Launching a new seminar at this show at 1 o'clock on Saturday, and it's going to be, the title is Fishing Beyond the Basics, and it's going to be bullet points, if you want to call it that, of different topics. So I'm going to, really take a look at the fish's brain, how smart they are, and some fish aren't as smart as the other fish, believe it or not. Their food sources, how they react to different foods, a mood of a lake, items that are never talked about anywhere. In fact, in books or TV or whatever, you just don't see it.
The sports show runs through Sunday at the Minneapolis Convention Center. Admission is $12 for those ages 16 and older, and children age 15 and under are admitted free. And Jason Malone and I saw a lot of people there already here on a Thursday afternoon checking out what was going on.
Bodes well for it.
Yeah,
And
right.
Thanks, Jen. Still ahead, a Maple Grove student who is going places.
That includes the World Championships of Robotics. Hear about his remarkable accomplishment next. A wonderful opportunity this week for students at Armstrong High School to see a different window of the world. Students from Japan visited as part of an exchange program. They gave a PowerPoint presentation in English about life in Japan, and as you might imagine, it was a daunting challenge to present in their non-native tongue.
They were a bit nervous because, you know, many people were here. And maybe because like this kind of atmosphere that they had was made them, you know, pretty kind of nervous. So they kind of forget some lines and, you know, made mistakes and stuff. But they did a wonderful job, I think.
And as you can see, the Japanese students also performed dance and did a martial arts demonstration. And finally, this week's Standout student has an incredible talent for robotics.
Alex Kafer will help lead his Maple Grove Crimson robotics team to the World Championships next month. And that's not the only international award he's up for.
So last year, basically what we did was we just had this giant catapult.
This robot that Alex Kafer helped program can launch a ball high into the air.
There's just a computer in the middle. It's a very small computer. It's this guy right there.
Talking to this 17-year-old Maple Grove junior, you can see he has the right skill set to soar.
He exemplifies all the sorts of things that we look for in a robotics student. He's extraordinarily intelligent. But he's also very personable. He can communicate with other team members.
A straight-A student, Alex started learning computer programming on his own at the age of 10. Those skills paid off this year at the first robotics competition. Alex and the Maple Grove Crimson team designed and built a robot able to stack up recycling containers. And they beat out 63 other teams to advance to the World Championships.
This is your World Series of baseball. It's pretty much as high as you can get.
It's an impressive feat when you consider that each movement and action the robot performs is a line of computer code that Alex and his team wrote.
We have 4,000 lines of code. I think it's 4,092 lines of code in this year's robot.
His efforts have also put Alex in the running as a finalist for the prestigious First Robotics Dean's List Award.
10 students in the world will ultimately be chosen as model robotics students.
For Alex, robotics is a real-life way to apply math and science knowledge. And he says his passion for programming simply comes down to this.
Yeah, having the control over things. It was just like, it can say, do this, and it does it. You're just like, I have authority.
Robotics coach Eric Malm sees Alex's skills as ones that can help the world.
We've got energy problems, we've got global warming, and it takes kids who are really gifted in STEM fields in science and engineering and math to be able to solve those sorts of problems. And Alex is the sort of kid who can go on and make a difference in the world.
It does. But that
the Maple Grove Crimson robotics team will compete in the World Championships, and that's coming up next month in St. Louis. You want guys like Alex around.
That's very impressive. 4,000 lines of
code
unreal.
just for this robot. That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow.